And thanks for joining us on NTA Nationwide, kicking off from the nation's capital territory, Abuja. My name is Ogechi Paul. And now details. The federal government has restated its commitment to support the private sector to revive Nigeria's economy. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo stated this during an inspection tour of industries in Onitsha and Nnewi, both in Anambra State.
Obiano visited some industries at Obaru Industrial Harbour before proceeding to Nnewi. Addressing newsmen after the tour, the Vice President stated that the challenges the manufacturers are facing revolves around lack of capital, power and access to foreign exchange.
I'm here, on the instruction of Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, to see for myself firsthand the types of industries that are going on locally. And of course, we've chosen to come here first because we know that this is one of the most active places in the country for local industry. We have gone just looking around. It's very clear that this is truly the hotbed of industrialization in Nigeria. And I'm very, very pleased.
He maintained that revitalizing the manufacturing industry and the use of local content is in line with the federal government's program to keep businesses afloat, create jobs and wealth for citizens.
I've seen a lot, and I'll be reporting back to Mr. President that whatever we can do to support Harbour, this industrial estate, and so many others, we will do.
Governor Willie Obiano also reaffirmed his commitment to supporting manufacturers in the state.
So this Eastern Distilleries factory, where he laid the foundation stone, by the grace of God, this factory will grow from strength to strength and will employ a lot of Anambra.
The Vice President visited 6 industries in Onitsha and Nnewi. From Nnewi, Benson, Osadebe, NTA News.
Now, with the 2017 digital switchover on the horizon, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has challenged the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, to be at the forefront of a new, better and focused broadcasting. The minister stated this at a retreat for the management of the authority. Dennis Adegunloye reports.
The minister said that under his watch, repositioning the NTA is top on his agenda, hence describing the retreat as an opportunity to self-critique and analyze. He said an important part of the process is the constructive exchanges, which will go a long way in taking the authority to the next level of service delivery.
My vision is that by the time, in the next 24 months, without any argument, we should be the #1 station in this country and by extension of the country.
An appropriate and right balance, Lai Mohammed says, should be achieved between being a government organization and appealing to the viewer.
How do we convince Nigerians that we are back, or we're on the way back to being #1? We must really let people know we are credible. We're not just, we're a government organization, we're not a government organ. Oh, we support government, of course, yes. But we also know that at the end of the day, our first obligation is also to Nigerians, to our viewers. It's the viewers that determine how good we are, not the government.
Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, said since the NTA can be restored to its former glory, his tenure will ensure all hands will be on deck to achieve this objective.
This kind of event gives one a reason to be happy about how proactive and forward-looking our system is becoming, especially as we battle with obvious impediments bedeviling our practice. The actualization of this event for which we are here gathered is to a large extent a function of the leadership and direction of one man, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture. I cannot thank him enough. I am confident that this wonderful opportunity presented us today will help us chart a new course of innovating action that will usher us into the digital era of broadcasting.
The retreat had as its theme positioning NTA for better performance. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Well, the next set of stories targeted at the women's falls begins with the push for the enforcement of the Violence Against Persons Act, which should be a major step to quell the rise in violence against women. This was a submission of guests on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, while discussing the topic, violence against women in Nigeria. Oyemi Ajayi reports.
There are different causes, for example, external family interference, the husband getting drunk and coming home and beating the wife. But everything the fulcrum of all this problem is financial empowerment.
These are some causes of violence against women in Nigeria, with high rates in Kano, Kaduna, Lagos and Port Harcourt. Gender-based violence has continued to be on the rise in the country. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria said this is quite unacceptable and needs to be curbed. They agreed that some of the perpetrators of these acts hide under the traditional practice of the society, which gives a window for such acts to scale through.
Various manifestations of violence also, we should not forget about the culture and the tradition. Say cultural. You see that if people look at it sometimes that if you're being beaten by your husband, you're not supposed to talk, or you're not even supposed to go and even complain to your parents. You're supposed to keep quiet, and just swallow it.
And we have observed through our intelligence-based gathering that this incidence is all over the nation, especially in economic busy areas, that these offenses occur when people are in their place of work, when people are pay less attention within the communities when it comes to minors.
With the Violence Against Persons Act passed in 2015, victims have been advised to speak out and not hide anymore.
The fact that they're not speaking, it's not necessarily a proof that they accept the battering. Sometimes when you report, the battering increases. So to protect themselves, they keep quiet. To protect their children, they keep quiet. To remain in marriage, they keep quiet.
Popularization of that act is ongoing. Lawyers are beginning to test the act.
The guests, however, agreed that married couples should always seek advice of marriage counselors in order to solve some domestic issues rather than resorting to violence. They also said that women deserve respect and care and not to be used as objects for self-gratification. In Abuja, Oyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, observed from November the 25th to December 10th every year. What are the implications of violence against women, and how best can the society overcome the negative trend? Dilatu Ezerike reports.
Violence against women is considered as an act of gender-based violence that causes physical or psychological harm or injury to women. Forms of violence against women include domestic violence, workplace sexual harassment, child marriage, female genital mutilation, rape, and war. Going by a WHO study, 35% of women worldwide have experienced either physical or sexual violence, though developing countries are the worst hit. For instance, approximately 130 million girls and women have experienced female genital mutilation. In Nigeria, major concerns for many is the spillover effect of Boko Haram insurgency that makes women and girls vulnerable, and the increasing speed of domestic violence and rape that are on the increase.
The day is meant for special people like us, because I'm a victim of domestic violence. My daughter is a victim of child abuse by a steward in our house.
However, there are interventions and legal framework like the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, VAP, under which issues of rape attracts 12 to 20 years imprisonment without any option of fine.
The act at the moment is the only act that prohibits all forms of violence against persons, both in private and public life.
Violence is wrong. You understand? And the thing is that I think our court should begin to convict offenders under the VAP Act.
There are also much more, especially in closing economic gaps that portray poverty as the face of a woman.
There is this program that the Federal Ministry for Women Affairs specifically for women, where women at all levels to access funds ranging from 10,000 up to 100,000 with no collateral, no.
There's also the Future Assured initiative of the wife of the president. Under it, she's been able to touch on the lives of the average Nigerian woman, especially the internally displaced persons.
For critics, a lot more needs to be done, especially in the areas of politics.
Politically, there's violence against women. Number one, if you look at the political party structure, they reserve just one position for us, women leader.
The stereotypes are gradually eroding, and more, even the young
management.
This empowerment program is meant to enhance the economic power and the standard of our women, and by extension, improve the lives of families as a whole.
The thrust of the initiative, the wife of the president said, is to get Nigerian women involved in profitable economic ventures leading to wealth creation, especially amongst women, and to enhance national development.
On this note, our women and young people will be better equipped to face financial challenges and be able to encourage the education of their children.
Various speakers comprising the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, represented, reaffirmed their commitment in supporting the wife of the president in this initiative.
I'm particularly happy and proud to be associated with an initiative of this nature, which seeks to empower women to become active in the national economic process.
The increase in the number of beneficiaries is an eloquent testimony to the fresh and renewed impetus injected into the collaboration by Her Excellency Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari and the doggedness of NDE in fulfilling its mandates.
I have no doubt in my mind with your commitment and the implementation of what you're going to be taught. The sky will be your limit.
The wife of the president was accompanied by the wife of the vice president, Dolapo Shimbaji.
Of catering service. Yes, I've done bid and wire works training, and then I'm here again to improve on what I had done before.
Through this initiative, Nigerian women are expected to attain an enviable level of self-reliance. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Well, so much for the women folk now, as the Speaker, House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has emphasized the need to eliminate the barriers to access health care delivery through prepayment and subsequent pooling of funds in preference to direct out-of-pocket payment. This was in a message to a public hearing to avert a national health crisis through the revitalization and funding of the system. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
The Speaker, represented by Minority Leader Leo Ogo, said the primary health care center is the first port of call for majority of Nigerians living in rural areas. Therefore, the country must come up with plans on how to raise funds to revitalize health centers.
We must find ways to reduce or eliminate the barrier to access health care delivery through prepayments and subsequent pooling of funds in preference to direct out-of-pocket payments.
Currently, there are 774 local government areas with 9,502 political wards in Nigeria. At least each of the LGA has one primary health center or more are not fully functional.
We believe that with 80% of our citizens living at the primary health care level, primary health not only cannot be ignored, but must be invested in to deliver the right care of our populace.
Minister of Health Isaac Adewale spoke on the need to restructure the already existing strategy.
In fact, members of the committee are so delighted this is taking place because we need to work together. But can federal government alone? The answer is no.
Added contributions from concerned persons from the health sector.
Looking at the primary health care, we look at everything concerned with primary health care in terms of the goals that we need to achieve.
It is the expectation of concerned persons at the hearing. The National Assembly work with the Ministry of Health and the Budget Office to make health care accessible, affordable, sustainable financial mechanisms from the National Assembly. Ifeanyi Ezumba.
The Surveyor General of the Federation, Beshinta Awudu, has advised
for providing this equipment.
While appealing to the federal government for the provision of more observation points, the Surveyor General of the Federation charged deputy directors and directors in the ministry, especially those who are newly promoted, to man their areas of responsibility, especially now that the country expects much from them. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Fadama farmers in Sokoto State have a cause to smile because of the bumper harvest recorded in the last rainy season and put them looking ahead for the next. This was during the 6th supervision mission on the farms by teams from the federal government and the World Bank. Delatu Abdullahi reports.
While interacting with farmers in Raba, Goronyo and Wurno local government areas of the state, the farmers delighted over their bumper harvest were full of gratitude to Fadama 3 intervention program of the federal government and find that the program, if expanded with additional hectares of land for cultivation, will guarantee food security of the nation. Minister of Agriculture, represented by Dr. Rio Mai, said the team's visit was to see how possible the federal government can address key challenges facing farmers in Sokoto State. National Project Coordinator of Fadama 3 Additional Financing, Taiwo Adeomi, who was impressed with the findings of the supervision mission team, says,
the output is, before our intervention, in 1 hectare of land they were getting between 50 to 60 bags. Now with Fadama intervention, they get between 80 to 90 bags.
In their separate remarks, Commissioner Sokoto State Minister of Agriculture Omar Nagwari Tambol and the State Coordinator for the Mathri Project Additional Financing Bashir Mustafa assured a proper preparation and implementation of project activities in accordance with the World Bank guidelines and procedures. The delegation had earlier paid a courtesy visit to community and traditional leaders in Sokoto. Dalata Abdullahi, NTA News.
Yeah. The Federal Ministry of Environment is worried that if proactive measures are not taken immediately, posterity may not have enough land space to survive. The fear was expressed by the Minister of Environment, Amina Mohammed, in interaction with visiting officials from the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, in Abuja. Mio Gidi has that report.
Deforestation, bush burning, oil pollution, non-observance of environmental impact assessment in programs execution are some human activities that threatens forest expansion. The Ministry of Environment and the United Nations
Cause since road safety is the responsibility of all. This time it is the turn of the African Development Bank in Nigeria. The bank officials led by Nwela Aaron Katambola says the bank will demonstrate its concern for safety of lives and property of the people through its support to relevant institutions by engaging in road safety reforms on the African continent. Apart from giving consideration to some road corridors across Nigeria, the bank also promises to explore other areas of assisting the Corps to manage its roadside clinics established across the country. FRSC Corps Marshal Boboyo Yeyemi says through public enlightenment and enforcement programs, the Corps has been able to record high level of sanity on the country's highways.
And that we have to key in also looking at it to reverse the trend of crashes to a manageable size and to be among the 20 safest nations in the world. We believe the more we get support and the better we can be able to attain this.
He expressed FRSC's readiness to continue to embrace all hands of fellowship that will aid the Corps to fulfill its mandate. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And a bit of sports now. Super Falcons aim to top Group B with a win against Kenya Saturday in Cameroon as Manny Pacquiao knocks out retirement thoughts. Kenya Mobotika brings us details on Sports Update.
Having failed to beat Ghana in their second match, Nigeria Super Falcons will aim to top Group B when they confront Kenya in the Africa Women's Cup of Nations last group match Saturday in Cameroon en route to the semi-finals. Ghana, who have a game against Mali, are tied on 4 points with Nigeria, although the 7-time champions are currently leading the group on goal difference of +6. The outcome of Saturday's fixtures determines the semi-finals opponents of host Cameroon, who picked their ticket after a 1-0 defeat of South Africa in Group A's second game. The Nigerian Referees Association has begun this year's final lap of national fitness tests for members ahead of the commencement of the 2016-2017 football season in December. The week-long exercise, which is taking place at the practice pitch of the Abuja National Stadium, will feature participants from various zones in turns as organizers leave no room for shortcomings.
Then football is a game that is dynamic. Refereeing should be as dynamic as the game itself, and we should